India. The other rankings are NIRF 2019 All India rank 101 to 150, Outlook iCare University ranking 2019, 15th in top state private universities, India Today ranking 2019, 19th in India's best private universities. Students pursue offbeat careers or study and work with the world's best, that is INSEAD, Unilever, Nestle, Genpact, HDFC, and many more. As a leader in higher education, the university has pioneered change in all the sectors by aligning the needs of the industry and the curriculum delivered. University is known for global reach and innovative academic services. Shoolini University is unique for its thought-inspiring infrastructure. That's about the university. Beyond what Nishesh said, I would like to add a little more about the director, Mr. Pratip Mazumdar. He is the director for School of Hospitality and Hotel Management, a professional hotelier with over 30 years of cross-functional experience in top-of-the-line global hotel chains in India and overseas, an alumnus of the prestigious Oberoi Center for Learning and Development, OCLD. He is an expert on all hotel operations. He held senior positions in the Oberoi Hotels, ITC Welcome Group, Carlson Residor Group, Hyatt Hotels, Holiday Inn Group, etc. And additional experiences in hotel operations, training, general management, facilities and administration, soft services, people management, business divisional leadership, etc. He is focused on creating a value add in people, process, product in service industry. The focus for today's session is gross operating profit to human capital profit. Sir, welcome once again. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and being part of this Club Faces at Ihm Bangalore, the webinar series, leadership series. Thank you. The floor is all yours now.
Thank you very much, and very, very respectful namaskar and namaste to all my dear audience and my dear dosts in this audience today, this afternoon. Extremely happy to be here, and profuse thanks to Nishesh Jaiswal, who's moved from second year to third year, and Anjali Madam for giving such a kind introduction, of which I consider myself highly unworthy. But my dear friends, today, before even I start, I am 100% sure that probably for business occupation, preoccupation, Srivat sir is not here. So Anjali ma'am, kindly convey my respectful remembrance to Srivat sir also. Wonderful. Shall we straight away dive straight away to the topic, because we have lots of information and lots of interesting things this afternoon to discuss. Friends, I have specifically chosen this topic, my journey from gross operating profit to human capital profit. The reason is because something happened in June 2014, and I'd like to tell you this little story. Now, I have been a hotelier from the year 1989. That is the year I went to the Oberoi School. And continuously from the year of 1989, all that I have known is guest is God, and we exist for our guests. In June 2014, I was attending an executive leadership program from Cornell University, and the professors, a few professors who were specialists in leadership and strategy had come down to Hyderabad, and we were doing this program through the Satguru institution, which has partnered with Cornell. And I remember Professor John Willoughby, who was our strategy professor, gave us a question, and we were a group of, I think about 15 or 18 hoteliers from various different hotel brands. And the question was very simple. The question was, who, in your opinion, is more important? Number one, owner. Number two, customer. Number three, employee. A poll was taken, a vote was taken, and we were For 5-10 minutes, we were confabulating with each other, talking to each other, discussing with each other. And many of us were of the opinion that, yes, absolutely, we exist because of guest. He's the customer. Many of us who also had a human resource bent of mind, we also mentioned that probably it's the employees. Finally, the answer that came out to be true from Professor John Willoughby was that the most important person was the owner. And then he went on to explain and substantiate why the owner was the most important stakeholder. Friends, remember, this is a business, and we are all in it for money. We are all in it for consideration. An owner who has sunk in millions of dollars will always want his ROI, which stands for return on investment. By the way, I had also requested Anjali ma'am and Nishesh to request all of you, in case you have the desire, keep a pen and paper ready so that you can write down some important terms and terminologies which we will discuss today. It might come of help to you at some later point in time. Return on investment is very, very important to the owner. When the owner makes an asset, a building, of course, he is building it for a particular purpose. But remember, put yourself in the owner's shoes the day you make the asset and the day you hand it over to a hotelier to run it. Believe you me, however mature a mindset you have as an owner, after the next 1 week, you will come and keep on asking your general manager, how's the profit? How's the occupancy? How's the revenues? Because all that you are interested in is what goes into your bank account. And what goes into your bank account is GOP, gross operating profit. Friends, that is the reason I thought I want to talk to you youngsters about gross operating profit. My dear friends, always remember one thing, and I keep on saying this to my own student colleagues also, that don't consider yourself as a front office manager, as an executive housekeeper, executive chef, or food and beverage manager. At the end of the day, consider yourself a BM, business manager. Today, you may be at a very nascent part of your life, but let's say 15 years down the line, 18 years down the line, if all goes well, you should be at the helm. You should be sitting in the general manager's chair. And when you are sitting in the general manager's chair, considering the fact that, believe you me, and I am telling you this because I have gone through this pressure myself, when you are sitting in the general manager's chair, the environment up there is a very lonely one. It's a very lonely seat, and it's a hot seat. In every other place, in every other department, you will have someone to point a finger and say what went wrong. But when you are the GM, the buck will come and stop at your chair. Owners will come to you and ask, how much return are you going to give us at the end of the year? Employees will come to you and say, sir, how much increment are you going to give us at the end of the year? हमें salary कितनी मिलेगी? Increments क्या होगा? You are going to be buffeted. You will be sandwiched. So a general manager's position is not a very, very easy position. I can assure you that. And that is the reason why we always say that the general manager's chair is a hot seat. Buck stops at the general manager's chair. Now, let's take a little detour from the general manager's chair to what the general manager has to concentrate on. There are two types of budgets in any business. Whether tomorrow you start a restaurant, whether you tomorrow start a retail shop, there are two types of budgets. One is called the revenue budget, yani ke amdani, income, and the other is called the expense budget, which is kharcha. Revenue minus expense is equal to GOP or GOL, gross operating profit or gross operating loss. It's very clear. Nothing to fly a rocket to the moon. It's very simple arithmetic out here. So you need to be very clear about your revenue budget and your cost budget, which is your expense budget, which directly influences your gross operating profit. So now, when you are looking at your profitability, which in other words is also munafa, you are also talking in terms of two things. Either you push your sales up, which will bring in more and more revenue, or you push your costs down, which means compromise on standards. It's a double-edged sword, really. So when you are pushing your revenues up, that is called top line, TOP, top line. You're pushing your revenues up, great. When things are not good, for example, COVID, then you are trying to control your costs, cut your costs. When you're controlling your costs and cutting your costs because of no revenue coming through the door, that is when you are trying to control your bottom line. So it's a very tough situation. Many a time, as a general manager, you may come across a very combative housekeeper who comes and tells you, sir, I am a non-revenue generating department. I only consume your expenses. Is that the reason why you're not giving me money to renovate my rooms? Is that the reason why you're not giving me money to refurbish my rooms? It is very difficult for the poor exec housekeeper whose only focus in life is supreme quality to understand what the GM is going through. Because the GM also at the end of the month has to deliver a GOP. Because if he does not deliver the operating profit, there will be questions asked to him by his Malik and by his owning company. What's up, dude? What happened? Why are you showing us you are in the red? We don't want to see you in the red. We always want to see you in the green and the blue. What's happened? It's very difficult. At that particular point in time, it's very difficult to make your owners understand that a political situation in the country is bad, or there is far too much competition around me in the market. My hotel has aged. My hotel needs renovation. My hotel needs money to again renovate itself and look young, but I don't have the money. So therefore I have to cut the costs. I hope everybody is trying to understand. And if you are understanding what I'm saying, there is a reaction button at the end of yours, at the bottom of your screen. You can push the thumb reaction. So I also know that, yeah, you're with me. You're understanding what I'm saying. Thank you, Ajay. Thank you for giving me the thumb. Thank you, Nishesh. Yeah, that's good. So we are continuously engaged while I am speaking with you. Having said that, so we have talked about the revenue budget and we have talked about the cost budget. Now, the important thing here is at this particular point in time of our lives, in our colleges, we are only learning the ropes of front office, food and beverage service, housekeeping, food production. But it is extremely important for each one of you, my dear young dosts, to start conditioning your mind to think about what I very fondly call, and all my student colleagues laugh at me when I say we need to think about the ROKRA. The ROKRA is very, very important. ROKDA. Never forget this word in your life. This is the word that's going to be very, very important in your entire life as a professional, whichever profession you are in. At the end of the day, it's the munafa, it's the ROKRA that you're working for. Your gross operating loss will not take you anywhere, my friend. With that, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit now. I'm going to present to you a small little video of 12 minutes. This is a video on strategic management. And listen to this video very carefully, which I had prepared for a friend of mine in Bangalore by the name Professor Indranil Ganguly, who teaches MBA. And he had told me, Pratip, can you do me a video on strategic management in the hospitality industry? And with your permission, I'm about to share that with you. So Nishesh, would that be fine? I'll do the
That
share
would be
screen.
the best.
I'll request everyone to very carefully hear every single aspect that that I'm discussing in the video. You might find it really interesting. Namaskar. Hello, everyone. My name is Pratip Mazumdar, and I have been given a task by Professor Ihm Bangalore to talk about strategy, especially in the COVID. Anjali Nishesh, is the audio coming through clear? Is the audio coming through clear?
The audio is clear, sir.
19 time for the hotel and tourism industry. Now, I have been associated with this industry for the last 30 years of my life, and I have been an active hotelier myself, and now I serve as the dean for the Shoolini School of Hospitality in Shoolini University up in the hills of Himachal Pradesh. Now, my dear friends, we're going to have an informal conversation over here where I'll try to explain to you that all is not well with our industry, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So let me talk first about the hotel industry, and just to give you a little bit of an understanding, all these different luxury hotels that you possibly visit, get an idea that the creation of each room in a hotel is usually between a crore to about a crore and 20 lakhs. And this includes the land cost. Given that sort of capital investment, you can easily understand that making a hotel is a huge capital investment for any owner or any owning company. Given that, as it were, I am now going to talk about a few other pointers that Professor Indranil had going to speak about. Let us try to understand that the hotel industry primarily thrives on the touch factor, on the human factor. Our industry actually works on the human machinery. We believe in touch points. We are a highly personalized and a high-touch industry. Now, let's talk about some external factors. Approximately 5 million people are affected worldwide through this pandemic. About 4 lakh are already reported dead. As far as our industry is concerned, I'm very sad to say that 60 to 80% of tourism business is down. And when I say tourism, I talk about travel, tourism, hospitality, aviation, which in turn translates to roughly about $2.1 trillion in losses. This is as far as the global scenario is concerned. And let me now bring you closer to home. In terms of our internal factors, it's not a very happy situation and not very music to the ears. 10% of our gross domestic produce is influenced by the tourism industry. We make approximately 20 lakh crore in terms of revenue, and assuming a 50% wash down, we are looking at a 10 lakh crore down the barrel of the gun. 55 billion people are employed in this industry, and currently approximately 38 million have already become unemployed. We are expecting out of every 10 restaurants, 4 restaurants to close down, and any bounce back on a very realistic level will only happen after 24 months. Nothing before that. We don't even have a vaccine in sight right now.
Any vaccines that are being attempted are going to go through clinical trials, and only thereafter are we going to look at a COVID-19 free society, which is a very far cry from now. It is therefore a black swan event as far as the tourism and hospitality industry are concerned. So now let us look at what would be the specific tools which we have to deploy in this sort of a scenario. And roughly speaking, there are four major areas where we need to address: health, safety, distancing, sustainability. There is no other choice. We are talking in terms of three broad methodologies. We are first talking in terms of survival, then we are talking in terms of revival, and finally we are talking in terms of thriving. Stage-wise, in terms of value creation, we have to understand that gone are those days when we used to primarily talk about moments of truth. Every single touch point was a memory, was an experience for our customer who we call the guest. Of course, moments of truth can be two types, positive as well as negative. But today, moments of truth is now passé. We are looking at moments of trust. The trust factor is going to play a very huge role for today's post-COVID traveler. As against capability, we have to now look at copability. We have to cope with our current new normal. We cannot remain locked down. The economy cannot remain locked down. All the different sectors that actually add up towards that GDP have got to start gunning again in some manner or the other. So as a result of which, we need to understand that we have to coexist with coronavirus. All of us know plenty of people die of tuberculosis, plenty of people die with road accidents. Perhaps those are not as mathematically equated as the COVID-19 situation is, and that is the reason why it is creating so much of a panic. Fact remains that in 130 crore country, how do you possibly contain this sort of a situation? Vaccines will come, we will have to coexist, and we will have to deploy newer measures in which we will carry forward with our businesses, be it tourism, be it hospitality, be it travel, be it aviation. Anywhere we have to look at the technological aspect. And therefore, the next point that I come to is we have to start trimming the fat and cutting the muscle. In terms of our industry, which has always been looked at as a luxury industry, as a high-end industry, we have to understand that one of our very big costs is labor cost, because our industry thrives on labor. Our industry thrives on the human factor, on the human capital. Now, unfortunately, with so much of technology coming in, whether I should call it unfortunate or fortunate, I'm not sure. Unfortunate from the point of view of the fact that many people will lose their jobs, which I already told you, about 38 million people have already lost their jobs. And many positions will also become redundant. In a situation like this, how does a person survive? Person has to become adaptable. Person has to become tech savvy, and person has to understand that the past levels of income are no longer going to be the same. Now, for 2 minutes, let me just put you in the shoes of an owner who has invested millions into making his wonderful hotel. You certainly want your return on investment, and that surely is not going to happen in a hurry. In any luxury hotel that you look at, after the initial investment, it takes approximately 9 to 10 years for payback to start. The gestation period is very, very high. What could be the strategy implementation that we are talking about? Everyone today talks about social distancing, but in our type of industry, we cannot really become socially distant. We have to practice safe distancing. We have to redefine our space ratios, whether it is in our banquet halls, whether it is in our restaurants, whether it is in our rooms, whether it is in our reception lobbies. There has to be new diktats coming out in terms of space distancing. Compared to our high-touch service, today we are looking at contact light service. We have to look at low-touch service. Several hotels around the world have come out with the concept of low-touch luxury. We have to embrace technology in a very big way. Whether you call it drone scanner, the electrostatic spray, the robotized housekeeping, the UV ray sanitization, all these different technologies which were earlier in sci-fi books will now actually be seen in reality. In fact, if you Google, you will go to a site called the Fly Zoo Hotel, very interesting site, and you will see how robotized stewards are delivering water, delivering food, right from room service, right to the rooms, robotized. You will find the same things happening in restaurants. The human factor is no longer there. You are talking in terms of robotized stewards, robotized housekeeping associates. Probably the only thing that we are waiting for is even robotized reception, wherein all check-ins are going to happen, all arrivals are going to happen through reception kiosks. So therefore, my dear friends, when you really look at our industry, the strategies are mainly three-pronged: survival, revival, and thereafter thriving. But the important thing that really comes to me as something in which we can take heart is the fact that human beings will travel. They will always travel. No sooner have we sent Jack Robbins, the moment COVID-19 goes down, our industry is going to bounce back, and it's going to bounce back in a big way. Important thing to understand is we have to be ready to embrace the wave when it actually comes to us. Last but not the least, my dear friends, we have to understand that nature does not recognize artificial borders that human beings do. With that, I wish you best of luck and God bless.
I guess that was the take on strategic management. And one of the things all of you, my dear friends, would have noticed is my hope. And I'm going to translate that hope to you now with my next screen share. And I'm going to prove to you that all is going to be well. All is going to be well. Just wait your time and you see. And let me just start screen sharing, and we will go through some very interesting truths about our beloved industry. The fact remains, after the amount of time that I have spent in this industry, believe you me, each one of you will only say our beloved industry. We will always, with Anjali ma'am's permission, may I use the word, all of us hoteliers, we keep on bitching about our industry, but we can't do without it. We just love this industry. That's the whole bloody problem. It's like a nasha, it's like an intoxication. So here we go. Take a look at this, and we are going to see what lies in store for us. And Nishesh, you will tell me whether you are being able to see this document now, which is called A Few Eye Openers.
It's visible. So.
Fantastic. So we go through it slowly, one by one, and thereafter we can discuss some wonderful questions. So number one, number of hotels and resorts worldwide, 7 lakh plus. And keep on thinking about the owner investment, what I have already told you about. Number two, number of hotel rooms worldwide, 16.4 billion plus, which translate to 1.64 crore. ARR, which means average room rate or average daily rate in the United States, which is the comparative hub, is $120 per night, which is about 9,000 rupees at the current exchange rate of 74 rupees 34 paisa. So you might as well take it at 75. Number 4, global travel industry market size, dear friends, stands at $1.6 trillion, which is 2 lakh crore. 2 lakh crore. Global travel industry contributes 1/10 of the global gross domestic product. Number 6, global travel industry valuation, $570 billion, which is 40 lakh crore. That's a hell of a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. Global hotel industry supports ancillary businesses, which is 100,535 businesses. These are all ancillary businesses which are supported by the travel industry. Number 8, manpower employed in the global hotel industry is 173 million plus, which is 17.30 crore. Maximum hotels in a city within the world is in Beijing, which stands at 4,169. Maximum 5-star hotels are in the city of London, which is 75, followed by Dubai at 61. Number 11, hotel inventory brand-wise. The highest number of hotels are owned by Wyndham, which is at 9,157, followed by Choice Hotels, which is 7,045. Coming in third is Marriott at 7,003. Number 12, highest room inventory in a hotel as of now, as of date, is the Izmailovo. Izmailovo is the name of a hotel in Moscow, which is at 7,500 rooms. And number 13, under construction is the highest room inventory in the world, which is the Abraj Uday in Mecca in Saudi Arabia at 10,000 rooms. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Number 14, hospitality industry contribution to global economy is $3.41 trillion, which is 4 lakh crore. And number 15, global tourism spend is $4.72 billion, which is 48,000 lakh. 15 pointers, ladies and gentlemen, tells you that our future is secure. It is not insecure. There is far too much money at stake over here. This industry will never go out of business. Yes, it will take a little time, but it's going to bounce right back. Now let me bring you a little bit closer home to India. There you are. Number 1, 6 points, and you will realize that you're not in a bad situation. Hospitality market size of India stands at $22 billion, which is 2,200 crore. Average growth rate in our country is 8.6%, and it is going to keep on growing at that rate till 2025. Organized sector growth rises from 32% in 2019 to 37% in 2025. 55% of the organized sector is in 3-star and above categories of hotels. Number 4, Indian hospitality serves 2 billion domestic customers and 9 million foreign customers. So do you realize that domestic tourism has a huge potential? And this post-COVID-19 situation, domestic demand creation is going to hold the key to the game. Number 6, and the last one, Indian tourism manpower employment, 4.2 crore jobs, which is 8.1% of total employment in the country. So my dear friends, these facts and figures is what I wanted to actually show you, because continuously we keep on looking at the black swan event of the COVID, and we keep on thinking, where is going to be our future? Well, the future is in front of you. The data is in front. There are only 2 things that you got to remember. Data speaks, and in God we believe. Let me take you down, ladies and gentlemen. The top 10 travel and tourism employer countries in the world, and this is in millions. And for those of you who might like to have a mathematical calculation, 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. So China is topping the list at 29,089 million positions. Coming in at number 2 is our own country at 27,404 million. We are in the second position among the top 10 countries in the world employing people in the hospitality industry. Number 3, United States. Just look, from second position, 27,404 million, USA is at 5,905 million. So now you understand what is the difference in labor cost. The labor cost in those countries are so huge that you can't even have the luxury of thinking of employing too many people because of very, very high salary wage bill. Number 4, Philippines stands at 5,798 million, Indonesia at 4,750 million, Mexico at 4,668 million jobs, Germany at 3,131 million positions, Vietnam at 2,566 million positions, Thailand at 2,482, and United Kingdom at 1,734 million positions. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you who may have read, who may have heard of William Shakespeare, and William Shakespeare was a very famous English playwright who wrote a very famous drama called Julius Caesar. And in Julius Caesar, there was an important character, Brutus, and Brutus says, and it is given in yellow. Let's read it together. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which when taken at the flood, leads to a fortune, means opportunity. When opportunity comes knocking at your door, you don't close the door, you open the door. And when the flood is coming in, if you can take advantage of the flood, your ship will sail right into sea and will not run aground into the sand, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where I come to an end as far as the gross operating profit part is concerned. And I'm going to now quickly take you to the human capital, because I did tell you how important labor cost is. I'm going to take you through, maybe the font is a little small, but I will keep on explaining it to you. The next page that you see is human capital productivity, and we will go through it point by point. Imagine I have done this for you because I do believe that there is an entrepreneur in you. I do believe there is a head of department in you. I do believe there is a general manager in you. All of you will manage your own businesses at one point in time. Human capital will be a big consideration for you. So number 1, employee cost per year. I have taken an example. I have taken an example that a particular employee who's employed with you is costing you 2,40,000 rupees for 12 months for 1 year. So point number 2, the employee cost per month, when you divide it by 12, goes down to 20,000 rupees per month. And I would really expect a little bit of thumbs up on your screen so that I know you're very much with me. Nishesh, are you there with me, dear?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Right.
So point number 3. So employee cost per day, rupees 20,000 is per month. When rupees 20,000 gets divided by 30 days in a month, you come down to per day cost of rupees 667 rupees per day. And if you further atomize it per hour, considering that 1 day is 10 working hours, 10 man hours. So 667 divided by 10 comes to 67 rupees a day is what you are paying for an employee. Number 5, desired productivity per day is 10 man hours. You would like your employee to give in 10 hours of work, which is called 10 man hours in 1 day. Number 6, desired productivity per month therefore becomes 260 man hours, considering that there are 26 working days in a month with 4 weekly off. Number 7, desired productivity per year therefore goes to 3650 man hours, because 260 multiplied by 365 days. Now let's look at point number 8, and which is called productivity reduction per day. So out of that 10 hours, what are we losing? Lunch, 45 minutes. Morning tea, 30 minutes. evening tea 30 minutes, gupshup, which we are very famous for, gupshup, I have given another 15 minutes. That's a total of 120 minutes per day, which is 2 hours lost out of the 10. So effectively, your 10 man hours has already come down to 8 productive hours. Number 9, let's go down to the paid leave. So what are the different types of paid leave? Weekly off, 52 in a year. CL stands for casual leave, 12 in a year, which is 1 per month. PL, which stands for privilege leave, 15 days for every 11 month of service. The word PL can also be replaced by AL, annual leave, can also be replaced by EL, earned leave. So PL, EL and AL is one and the same thing. Privilege leave, earned leave, annual leave, same thing. Then the gazetted festival holidays, which are 15 in India. So when you total it up, it's 100 days or 1,000 man hours gone in a year. So we are down to number 10, working days per year, 365 minus 100 is equal to 265 days. Multiplied by 10 hours per day, it's 2,650 man hours in a year. Number 11, what is your leave value? We have already calculated in point number 3 above, 667 rupees is per day cost. If that be the case, multiplied by 100 days lost, which is 66,700 rupees. Keep that in mind, your money. Number 12, productivity reduction value per day at the rate of 2 man hours per day because of lunch, morning tea, evening tea, gupshup time. 2 man hours multiplied by 67 rupees per hour, that's 134 rupees per day lost, your money. Number 13, productivity reduction value per month, 26 working days in a month, 134 days per day lost, 26 days multiplied by 134 rupees is 3,484, your money, ladies and gentlemen. Number 14, productivity reduction value per year, 265 man days, that means working days, multiplied by 134 rupees lost per day, that's 35,510 rupees for the full year, your money, ladies and gentlemen. So total rationalization means total money lost is 66,700, which has come from point number 11 above, leave value, 667 multiplied by 100, you can see number 11th point, 66,700 plus 35,510, which is 1,02,210 rupees, your money, ladies and gentlemen, out of the 2,40,000 rupees. So point number 16, your achieved commercial productivity, achieved. What you have actually got from your employee is 2,40,000 rupees minus 1,02,210 rupees. You have actually got work worth 1,37,790 rupees, which is 57% of the 100% value that you paid for. The question is, who will justify the balance 43% loss? Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I open myself to all questions that you have. My only maqsad was to make all of you think like a businessman or a businesswoman, because you people are going to drive the industry in whichever way, as head of department, as general manager, as personal entrepreneurs. I just hope that today's session has only helped you to think in a business-minded fashion. So Nishesh and Anjali madam, I'll be happy to take any questions if my dear friends wish to ask me.
You can raise your hands, anyone wish to ask questions.
Please raise your hand.
And if anybody has not understood anything, we can go back to the screen and I'll be most happy to explain again. And feel absolutely free, my dear friends. It's not that I know everything, I don't. So we can always discuss. And Anjali ma'am, you let me know what time we have to end the webinar.
Anyone for the, Nishesh, you have a couple of questions which had come into this thing. Maybe we can start asking those.
Okay. So I had received questions from the students before the webinar. One question was that should the students aim for higher studies in the present scenario?
Fantastic question. I'm very happy and I'd like to say thank you to the person who has posed this question. again, you'll have to forgive me, but my mind kind of thinks figures. The point here is, and this is the same thing what I told my graduating batch of 2020. The graduating batch of 2020 anywhere is graduating in unkind times. But the unkindness is only a perspective, Nishesh. It is not 100% perspective. It's not a 360-degree vision. The reason is because no one knew about COVID. It is not anybody's fault. Number two, COVID will go. आज जाएगा नहीं तो कल जाएगा नहीं तो परसों जाएगा. But this amount of time that you may have got, this is a great time for you to invest in yourself. Whether you invest in higher education, whether you invest in skill development, whether you invest in learning a language, whether you invest in learning advanced Excel, whether you invest in learning an entrepreneurship program, whether you move into these fantastic online platforms which has started by the name Coursera, edX, Udemy, Upgrad, and enroll yourself for a couple of courses. All this is going to add value to your biodata. It's going to add value to your CV. And last, to sum up this answer, there is absolutely no harm in increasing gyan. Does that answer the question, Nishesh?
Yes, sir, it does.
Use the time effectively, dear friends. You've got the time, use it effectively. It's only going to be helpful to you later, because later on when the industry actually opens up, believe you me, saas lene ka bhi time nahi milega. You wanted to give me another question?
Vishesh, do you have any more questions which had come through?
The other questions were about COVID-19. So
go right ahead.
As you have explained us like in deep about it, so
I think that would have already been taken care of in the strategic management video.
Yes, sir, that's what.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, myself, Mr. Nishesh, and Madam Anjali, we were talking this morning, continuously talking COVID, 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 COVID. It's high time that we just don't talk about COVID anymore. We look at COVID now as an inevitable thing which has happened. Aaya hai, chala jayega. Let's just keep it at that. Let's just not unnecessarily go overboard with that. No more insecurities. Time to assimilate all the information which I have tried to share with you and understand that you are in a space which is a very big financial space where there is lots of investment which has gone. Not very many people is going to pull out of that investment so easy. Do you realize if that happens, the world economy is going to be shattered? Nobody is going to even think in terms of that. So just a matter of patience. And any other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to answer.
I don't think there are any other questions from the audience.
May I?
Akansha.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Good evening,
Akansha.
sir.
Good evening to you,
sir.
Akansha. Good evening, Akansha.
Yes, sir. So I had this question that you explained everything about the gross operating profit and the strategic profits and etc. So I wanted to ask that how will this the data, the economic data that you have given us, how will it affect the economic growth of the country?
How is it going to affect the economic growth of the country? Thank you for asking that question, Akansha. Akansha, put yourself wear the tourism hat right now as we speak to each other and tell me, do you think international tourism will pick up?
I guess it won't as easily.
No, you're right. The the international tourism will not pick up. Go back to the data that I have shared with you. What is the size of your domestic tourism market? 2 billion, B with a Bombay, not million, M with a Manipur, 2 billion. So you have an opportunity there. Domestic demand creation is going to be an economic driver for our industry. Currently, for the next 16 months, 1/6 solar, for the next 16 months, till the time the airline industry comes back into its own, you can kiss foreign travel goodbye, inbound or outbound. But within the country, there's a big opportunity. That big opportunity has to be harnessed, point number one. Point number two, today we are living in the days of social media, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, and what have you. The moment domestic tourism picks up, it will have a dominoes effect on the foreign psyche. People are going to be more trustworthy. People are going to feel more and more safe. If you've been looking around the news landscape in the world, you would realize that the moment Europe had lifted its lockdown, people completely went berserk. They were so happy, they went berserk in terms of pubs, hotels, restaurants, they went berserk. So it's just a matter of harnessing that energy in a disciplined manner. So after the domestic high goes, the foreign travel will also come in post 16 months. It is going to drive the economic benefit to the country. Number two, FDI, foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment will take a long time to come because everybody is conserving cash today, Akansha. Today, before putting your hand into your pocket and taking out some cash, you will think twice before going and purchasing a pair of jeans for yourself or purchasing a high-end t-shirt for yourself. Because today, it is extremely important, since we are a little uncertain about the future, we would like to keep our cash secure. So everybody is going to do that, not a problem at all. So that is the reason why foreign direct investment is not going to come in so easy. But post 16 months, if the government takes some really proactive measures, which I have a feeling that they would, there is reason for rejoicing. There is reason for promise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Akansha. Now I would like to call over Vasundhara ma'am to say a few words.
I see Chef Krishnendu has joined us. Chef Krishnendu, good evening. Hello, Vasundhara ma'am. Good evening to you. Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar, sir. I have been sitting glued to what you have been saying for the past year.
Ma'am, I remain humbled.
I am really, really, I should say, first and foremost, of course, I'm to say thank you to you for giving us this wonderful opportunity. And it's been an eye-opener, to the students, especially the positivity that you have given, sir. It's amazing because we have literally looking at all the students who are here. It's forever the only question that they have in their head. What do we do? How do we cope? What is it? Is there? Of course, you have, with just a few well thought out words, laid so many of their doubts to rest. Thank you so much for that.
No, I think you and I, we are all sailing in the same boat because we are all mentors of youngsters like all our friends over here. And it is only natural, for them to come out with these questions, up here, what next?
Yes.
And, if we continuously keep on harping on the fact COVID, it becomes a bit of a depressant. Believe you me, yesterday being a Sunday, and thanks to Anjali ma'am, she gave me Monday slot. Yesterday, I actually spent my whole day in researching that what are the good things about our industry, which is actually data-based. Because in data, we believe. And that's where I put down these 16 parameters from the world, the 6 parameters from our country, and I presented it verbatim. Nothing is being discovered by me. So as far as the students are concerned, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
And so help me God. You're right.
Absolutely. That's exactly what, we've been, possibly we have been sharing. However, you know how it is. Familiarity you say, our teachers will tell us this. They're bound to keep us, full of josh, so to say. So when it comes from you, sir, it makes that much of a difference. It
Many
makes
thanks,
them
ma'am.
so much more elated, I should use the word, that yes, there is a future. It's not going to end. This too shall pass, as they say.
There
So
is far too much at stake for anything to end so fast. There is
that is
far too much
why.
at stake.
And those data, statistics that you have put forth in the screens that you have shared has actually literally driven home the fact that so much is at stake, it's not going to be falling down anytime in the near future.
And I'd really like to add here one thing, ma'am, for those of our student colleagues, whether it's in my campus or your campus or anywhere, those students, colleagues who are feeling hopeless, please make sure that you keep on feeling without hope, because these figures which I have showed you today will move you out of your hopelessness into a world full of hope. So the challenge is you can keep on trying to make yourself hopeless, but I'm very happy to tell you that you will be losing the battle. You will be losing the battle against hope, because there is far too much hope left.
There is a lot of hope, sir, and that's why they say no matter what candle goes off, if the candle of hope is there, everything is there.
How right you are, ma'am. How right you are.
That is absolutely what your entire hour has brought home to us.
Ma'am, that was my pitch, actually. To be very honest, that was my pitch.
Which was absolutely spot on, sir. Given
Thanks,
the entire, what shall I say, what is felt, and I know as far as possible, we say, okay, coexistence. Now, you've given us another thing: survival, revival, and thriving.
And thriving.
That is some takeaway, I think, that these students need to think about, because survival is one aspect, revival is another, but thriving is something that we need to see. Now, it's very easy for us all to say, what is this thriving all about? Well, if COVID-19 can thrive, so can we.
Absolutely. How right you are. What a beautiful perspective. What a beautiful perspective.
There is absolutely no way in the world that we are going to stop thriving. So that is the main, I felt that was such a beautiful takeaway, sir. Thank you for that. And definitely there are so many more things. I just couldn't stop thinking about everything right from the first word go. Okay.
I just hope that I didn't go at too much of a speed by which people didn't understand me. I just hope, Nishesh, that wasn't the case. I hope our friends could understand.
Nishesh, Akanksha, and all of you all, I think we all have to answer to that. Do you think it was too fast?
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
Thank you.
So I think that we have it.
The information was very good. And
sorry, Akansha, there's a problem with your audio. There's a problem with your audio, Akansha.
Hello,
sure.
Akanksha.
Thank you for your inspiring and kind words.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
And also, I liked the fact that you brought out the aspect of the whole thing being owner-driven. I think that was something that everybody says, okay, guest is God. Therefore, it's the employee, it's the customer who is the first thing that we think of. But you've given a different perspective, saying the ROI is something that the owner needs, and he's looking at that. And no way is he going to just let all his investment just be, going into pani. So that is another perspective, sir.
And that is a perspective which was not my own, ma'am. That was a perspective shared by Professor John Willoughby from Cornell. And he was very categorical about the fact that if an owner does not make an asset, you don't get employment. If you don't get employment, guests do not come into your hotel. So therefore, the writing is very clear on the wall. Owner is God. You need to keep that owner happy. Otherwise, the other perspective, ma'am, you're going to find it very interesting. Let me tell you this. He also shared that if you are an owner and if you have made a hotel which is a very high gestation product, and you are having to wait for a very, very long amount of time, you become impatient, you move out of the industry and you convert that hotel into a school or into a hospital which is ready cash business.
Absolutely. I think
there you are. That's what an owner is, ladies and gentlemen. An owner is a ruthless businessman. He will only keep on looking at his return on investment, or the newer term for that, accounting term for all of you, if you want to note it down, it's RONA. Not RONA means crime. RONA means return on net asset. That's RONA. And another term, if you want to write down, I'm not going to explain that, but maybe your accounts teacher will explain that to you. You may write it down. That is the EBITDA. EBI. E for elephant, B for Bombay, I for India, T for Tokyo, D for Delhi, and A for America. EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. I will not explain that to you. You might find it very heavy, but it's a very interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen. When you will also become business owners, you will require to know what EBITDA is. Otherwise, you will have to put a lock on your business.
Absolutely. I think that's another lovely takeaway. But one thing which I found that your strategic management also brought in to focus.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The top line and the bottom line.
Top line and the bottom line. Yes.
So that was put across so well that I'm sure that long after our talk is over, the students will remember that, because top line revenue, bottom line costs. And when you manage these two, that is strategic management. That is something that you have brought out so beautifully, Mr. Mazumdar.
And you have to really balance both and bridge the gap between the two, you know, the top line and the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Otherwise, you will never be able to, you know, really be a successful manager. After all, as a manager, you're supposed to do what? You're a manager because you're managing the assets of your owner.
Correct. So if you have to manage the assets and you have to be something that is going to be, what shall I say, profit-driven outcome, then definitely you're going to look at top lines, you're going to look at bottom lines. And that is some lesson on strategic management, which you have put in such a simple way. Thank you for that, sir. That was something really, really good. And of course, I mean, moment of truth and moment of trust.
Well, I must confess that is a plagiarism which I have done, because that is not my term, but it is a term. It is a term belonging to a man I admire hugely, and the name of the gentleman is Executive Director of ITC Hotels, ITC Limited, Mr. Nakul Anand. Mr. Nakul Anand was the person who actually taught us MOT, moment of truth, how it has now converted into moment of trust. Without trust now, ma'am, you can't go forward. Absolutely. However, there's one thing I really wanted to tell all my dear student colleagues here. You know, gone are those days of luxury only. Today, you have to talk about clinical luxury. Clinical has a hospital element to it. Until and unless you deliver reliability in terms of safety and health to your customer, koi aapke paas nahi aayega.
Hanji, which brings you to possibly today a slight shift in what we always thought was location, location, and location. Today, possibly it's hygiene, sanitation, and location.
Oh, beautifully said. I'm going to take that.
That is something that I find in your moment of trust, because if you can get your guests.
Ma'am, thank you. I have just noted down this. I'm going to be using this. I'm taking your permission. I will be using these words.
Definitely.
It is very, very beautiful. I have just noted it down in my diary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was something that I found, again, another thing that we are looking at is safe distance and low touch. And that from contact less, I prefer.
Contact light, yes, contact light.
Contact light to low touch is something so much more musical to your ears, because that does not take away the human aspect. And that human capital, which you have talked about, is there. Because low contact or light contact does not mean the person is not there. Maybe, as you specified, robots do come in. Yes, today we have to look at that. However, the human capital is as important as your gross operating profit.
Sure.
So I think, you know, you have brought those two onto the scale and kept it in front and said, I love the way that you said, justify 41%. Where is that?
Yeah, who will justify the balance 43% productivity loss?
43%, I'm sorry.
You know, I especially attribute it to us Indians, because, you know, when we are also at work, very respectfully speaking, we are all Indians sitting over here.
Absolutely.
We also while away our time. We also waste our time. When you put a money value to it, then that is the time when you realize 134 rupees loss per day. That's 66,700 rupees loss per year. That is when it hits you.
Well, we all love the banyas, don't we, sir? We love the banya mentality, and we say, yes, when it comes to money, let's look at it as a businessman.
But that's the reason why the banyas are so successful.
Yes, because they are.
That's the reason that is the reason why they know how to make money.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I said. I mean, I have admiration for them, believe me, because they manage to turn adversity into advantage. So that is something that we need to learn from them. I mean, that is definitely also one of the needs of the hour, if I may add to whatever you have said. So, you know, it was something that I think, you know, the students really have been blessed to have.
And I do hope that even in your classes henceforward, when you meet, whenever you all discuss, you all will be talking about these things, whatever we touched upon today, because these are all practical and realistic things, whatever we spoke about.
Absolutely, because this is the, to use an oft-repeated cliche, the need of the hour. It is definitely something that you have given us a way forward, and we will definitely bring it into our classrooms, because management is what you have taught us best now.
Thank you,
such few words. And that you have managed, sir. So thank you so much for a lovely session. It would be very remiss of me not to have put in a word of thanks to our principal, Sri Sanjay, who's not with us today, but well, he's busy. And
please convey my respects. Please convey my respects to him.
Definitely, we will do that 100%. But I should actually tell you, I had a word with Anjali some time back when when you had attended a previous session. So I said, who is the gentleman? So, you know, I was like very curious to know who was Mr. Pratip Mazumdar. So now I know Mr. Pratip Mazumdar, and I am so happy to have made your acquaintance. Definitely.
Many thanks, ma'am. And I think you need to thank Chef Krishnendu Mukherjee in a big way, because Krishnendu and I, we go back to college days. He's a very, very dear friend.
I believe
and he's the person who actually sent me the webinar calendar. Very beautiful webinar calendar, and I circulated that webinar calendar to all my students, first year, second year, and third year. And
thank you.
All my students have attended. It would be incorrect for me to say all my students, but I would say approximately 96 to 97% attendance has happened from Shoolini School of Hospitality, because we all attend such webinars together. The teachers and the students, we attend together. And thanks to Krishnendu.
That is definitely what I was just going to say, because Krishnendu and you have literally started your journey together. Yes, as all journeys, we do move apart, we do go away. But again, we have had, again, meeting, or what shall we say, Milan of you and Krishnendu again in the webinars. So that is something so nice. And yes, Krishnendu, thank you so much for introducing Mr. Pratip to us. So that is something that we have to always look back and say, yes, so many things.
And you know, ma'am, I must say this also to all my young friends. Dear young friends, you will realize one day the truth of my words. हमारे industry ना बहुत छोटे हैं. Our industry is very small. You will realize at some point in time or the other, either we will be working together, or you will be my senior, or maybe I might be your senior. You know, it's all like that. It's all like that. Our industry is very small. Our industry and the aviation industry are so intertwined with each other that we are like a brotherhood fraternity.
Absolutely.
We are like a brotherhood fraternity, believe you me.
That is true, sir. And that is a lovely way to say it also.
Exactly.
A brotherhood. That is so great. And
I don't know, ma'am, whether you were there, but if you were there, I would have been a little measured on my words, because I said that all of us hoteliers, we keep on bitching about our industry, but we can't do without it. We just love this industry.
One step further and say we bitch and moan all the time. Actually, with your permission.
How right you are. Wonderful. Very nice. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for such a lovely session. And Anjali, Nishesh, over to you again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, I would like to call upon Akansha Kale to give the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to everyone. I would like to thank Mr. Pratip Mazumdar for hosting and guiding us to our bright future, also telling us about all the strategic management, gross profit and loss about the industry, and enlightening us with his inspiring words. I would like to thank Anjali for supporting us, for supporting me and all the Club Faces members to conduct this webinar. And I would like to thank all the students who have attended this wonderful session and also the faculty members. Thanking you all. I would like to hand it over to Nishesh sir.
It was a really wonderful session, sir. Thank you so much for attending this and taking out your precious time for us.
Thank you for facilitating it so well, Nishesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Anjali. We are always going to be in touch. Vasundhara ma'am, we'll be in touch.
Definitely, Mr. Pratip, you haven't seen the last of us.
Surely, surely, surely. Thank you very much. My phone number is available with Anjali and Krishnendu. And with Nishesh too.
Yes.
And all of you, dear friends, before I say bye to you, I want to see all of you as profit-driven entrepreneurs, profit-driven businessmen and businesswomen. That is where the future is. So no point in despairing. Look for the best. Bye-bye. God bless. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye. Likewise to you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Nishesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good evening.
Same to you, ma'am. Shall we end it, Nishesh?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.